Good morning. In this week's double parsha of Nitzavim-Vayeilech, we read a famous verse about where Torah is to be found. In chapter 30, verse 11, the Torah says, Ki ha-mitzvah hazot asher anochi mitzavcha hayom, this commandment which I command you today, lo nifleiti mimcha velo rechokai, it is not concealed from you and it is not far. Lo v'shamayim lemor mi yaleh lanu hashamayim v'yikacheh lanu v'yeshmienu ota v'nasena. It is not in heaven that you should say, who will go up for us to heaven and take it for us and inform us how to do it. V'lo ma'aver liyami, nor is it across the sea. More to say, mi ya'avor lanu et aver hayam, who will cross the sea for us. V'yikacheh lanu v'yeshmienu ota v'nasena, and will get the Torah for us and will teach us and will do it. Rather, ki karov eilecha hadavar ma'od, b'ficha uvilvavcha l'ashoto. Rather, the matter is very close in your heart. It's very close to you in your mouth and in your heart to do it. So, the point that Torah is making is that Torah, godly wisdom, is not in heaven. It's here, it's very close, it's in your mouth. And the Vilna Gaon asks a question. He says, but it is in heaven. The Torah, we know that Hashem gave us the Torah. Hashem gave us the Torah from heaven. Min hashamayim yared. Hashem came down from heaven to give us the Torah. The Torah is godly wisdom. The Maharal of Prague says many times that this is why Torah is something that is so difficult to study and to retain, because it really is from a spiritual world. It's from a world above us. And so it's very hard for us to really grasp Torah and retain it. In fact, he quotes the Gemara in Chagiga, which says the Torah is compared to gold and silver, and it's compared to glass. In other words, the Torah is as difficult to attain, the Gemara says, as gold and silver, and yet it is as easy to lose, to break as glass. Torah is something that is, in a sense, far from us, that is difficult, that requires a great deal of toil and labor to understand it. Certainly, once you want to understand the intricacies and details and the depths of Torah, it requires a great deal of work. It's not, I'm afraid, something that you can pick up from a 10-minute YouTube shiur. It's really something that you need to apply yourself with a great deal of time and dedication, because the Torah really is from heaven. So what do you mean that the Torah is not in heaven? So the Vilna Gaon says something very interesting, is that he says, because every single night, when you go to sleep, your soul goes up to heaven, and there it is taught Torah, which it can bring into the world the next day. In other words, Torah really is from heaven, but there is a constant process of Hashem giving us the Torah. That's why we say that Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, which began on Shavuot, never really ended. When we make our brachot over the Torah, we say, Baruch atah Hashem notein haTorah. Blessed are you, Hashem, who gives the Torah, in the present tense. That Hashem is giving the Torah all the time. Yes, the Torah is from heaven, but the Torah is not in heaven, because the Torah is being given to us on earth. And so the Vilna Gaon says that every single night your soul picks up these words of Torah. Your soul is taught, learns words of Torah, which it then brings with it into the world the next day. The only thing is, of course, that this exists subconsciously. This exists beyond the level of real awareness. But it is something that we can tap into. There's a Gemara in Kiddushin which says that B'chol Yom Yetzer Hara mitgaber ala Adam lahorgo. Every day the Yetzer Hara, every day the evil inclination is given new strengths and strategies and is given new ways to spiritually kill a person. So that's quite a depressing thought. However, when you put this together with what the Vilna Gaon is saying, is that every single night your soul is given new knowledge and new wisdom, you are not actually at a disadvantage. Because if you apply yourself, so this Torah has been given to you, but it's not yet conscious, if you tap into that, if you spend the day learning and applying and taking in that Torah, sitting and studying it, being open to it, then you will in fact have the tools that you need to make this day a good, holy, and productive one. But that's up to you. It's not going to be an automatic thing. On another note, something that Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky observes, that the Gemara in Eruvin says, Lo b'shamayim v'lo ma'aver layam. The Torah is not in heaven, and the Torah is not on the other side of the sea. So the Gemara says, what does it mean the Torah is not in heaven? It means the Torah is not lofty. The Torah is not with those who are arrogant. V'lo ma'aver leyam, and the Torah is not on the other side of the sea. The Torah is not with those who are always traveling. We know that to be in business today, you often have to travel a great deal. The Torah is not to be found with those who are always traveling. And the Rambam makes a point of this, putting this together with spend less time in your business and more time on your Torah. So Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky says, but it seems that there's a difference, because he says regular malacha, regular work, let's say something that is less mentally intensive. He says, we understand that every time that you spend on that is time that you're not learning Torah. But there are many activities out there, and business is a great example, that require a great deal of mental dexterity, that require sharpness of mind, that require you to really think about things and look at things. The truth is, many professions in the information age today match that description. In their days, perhaps it was business more than any other. But for us, we have many such occupations that really train a person's mind and really teach a person to be very quick. And such a person will understand Torah more easily than somebody who is unsophisticated and uneducated, or at least not educated to the same degree. So Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky says, so in fact, we might say that a person who spends a great deal of time in business will become great in Torah, because he's sharpening his mind. It's a good preparation for Torah. But he says, no, that's what the Rambam is telling us by putting these laws together, and that is what the Torah is telling us here, is that it's not enough to simply sharpen your mind. You have to have something to put in your mind as well. Two stories to illustrate this. The Chofetz Chaim, in his book Shem Olam, he says that he met somebody who used to study Torah a great deal and now really doesn't study very much. So when the Chofetz Chaim asked him about this, why aren't you spending more time studying? He says, I don't spend so much time studying. He says, but I can tell you something, Rabbi, I am a Torah connoisseur. It's true that I don't myself study, but I can tell you every shir that I hear, I can tell you that's a good shir, it's not a good shir, it's coherent, it's not coherent, he's drawing well from the sources, he's not drawing well from the sources, so don't worry, my mind is there. Chofetz Chaim says to him, it's no good what you're saying. You are like a teller in a bank. He says people bring in checks, and you're looking at these checks and you need to authenticate them, and you are an expert authenticator. You can say, that's a real check or that's a forged check. He says, wonderful, very good, but where's your own money? How much money are you accruing for yourself? Very good that you're able to tell whether other people's money is authentic, but where's your money, right? That's the idea with this rabbi meter as well, right? That he's measuring the rabbis and, this one's good, this one's not good, this is a good share, it's not a good share. He says, very good that you're able to do that, but where's your Torah? What have you gained from this? And that's the same point that Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky is saying. Wonderful that you have a sharp mind. Wonderful that you have a sharp mind. But have you got any Torah? Have you got any Torah with it? And another story is from Rabbi David Aaron, that he was speaking to somebody about Aliyah, that there was a person, it was right and appropriate for him to go to live in Israel. And he says to Rabbi Aaron, however, he says, my problem is that outside of Israel I live a much more comfortable life. It's much easier. He says, I have a wonderful house. And the Gemara tells us that a big house is something that expands a person's mind. He says, if I would go to Israel, I would have to downsize. And I want to have this expanded mind. So but David Aaron says to him, listen, it's very good to have an expanded mind, but what are you going to put in it? What are you going to keep in this great big expanded mind? It's great to have a huge big mind that's rattling around empty with nothing inside of it. So with both of those things, whatever work you're going to do, we know that today people generally work very hard. Whatever work you're going to do, you can't say, well, it's sharpening my mind, because you actually have to be learning Torah also. Torah is not in heaven, it's from heaven. It is here and it is accessible, but only if we take the time, if we put in the effort, if we really invest in it. Have a wonderful Shabbat and a Shana Tov.